I grew up and was influenced a great deal by my mother and my grandmother. My mother loved clothes, and no one in the family was in the business, but I developed an interest from the time I was 5 or 6 years old. I would sketch. I had the gift that I was able to draw. So in fashion, that's a big help. And I just always seemed to know that I had this interest, and the interest developed. I studied art in grade school, high school, and then college. But I was always gearing myself to not be a painter or a sculptor, but to work with a team of people, collaborate, and create. I knew from a young age that I would probably want to have an establishment of my own, rather than just a job. I thought I had something to say, and I thought the way that I could say it was if I was in control of the company. And so I figured out a way to do it with very little money. And I was on a job. I convinced people who made patterns and who would sew up clothes to work for me at night and on the weekends. And this little man who was the sample tailor, fantastic fellow, he had a sewing machine in his daughter's bedroom, and he would sew up the clothes that I had sketched, and someone else made a pattern. That person lived in a different location. I'd buy the fabric, they would cut the fabric. I ended up with 6 samples and ready to resign my job when they fired me, because they found out that that's what I was doing. So I figured out a way to do this inexpensively. And that's one thing that's great about fashion. You can start off really small. If you have an idea, if you have something in mind that's different than what's out there, you have a shot without having to have a great deal of money. I think in the end, just being true to myself. I wasn't trying to please Vogue magazine. I thought if the editors like what we're doing, fine. If they don't like, I don't really care, because I was more interested in the client, in the women who would buy the clothes. And if they saw that we were doing something that appealed to them, that was my way of thinking. So I would say it was easy for me to do the shows. I mean, in one sense, you're creating, and then before you present the collection, you have to edit. And editing your own work is not easy, because I'd have a group of assistants around me saying, oh, this is so great, and that's so great, it has to be on the runway. And I'd say, it's not strong enough. It's not as strong as some of the other pieces. And I would find that I was just editing all the time. So having that confidence came across on the runway. And so we looked different than everyone who was trying to appeal to a fashion critic or to a magazine. We weren't trying that hard to be different.